with Your Music Magazine. We are at the CSUMB Music and Performing Arts Center. I'm here with Dr. Drew Waters. How you doing today?
Good, thanks.
So tell me a little bit about the program here. When does it start? What do you offer?
Sure. We offer, among other things, concentration, recording technology concentration. And it's comprised of 4 courses. The first course will be music and computers. So they start off learning the basics of Pro Tools. We start right from the beginning.
Right.
The only prerequisite we have is some theory courses and the ability to play an instrument or sing. So there has to be
little previous knowledge there.
Yeah. So it would just makes the classes more meaningful if you know when you come in, like you know what you're recording. You can empathize with the drummer and what they're going through. Empathize with the singer on the 20th take or something.
Right.
So you know what it's like, and also so you can read music, you can read charts, you're able to chart things, which just facilitate the whole workflow. Right. So that begins in the first course. They're learning Pro Tools Reason, which is sort of a MIDI sequencer and
Production suite.
Exactly, production suite. The second course they start off with recording, as in I start off with, this is an SM57, right? This is a mic cable, this is how you put it in. And at the end they walk with 5 songs fully recorded.
Wow.
Like I said previously, in a collaborative manner, like they're working in small groups of 3 and 4. And those roles will change for the next 3 semesters, where they're going to be the engineer, they're going to be the producer, they're going to be the artist, and they're going to be the tech. And that can even change within the session itself, depending on what the needs are of the session. The next course is mixing, which the people that that just left, they're mixing. So here's a session that's going on in the 3rd course, where they take everything from Pro Tools, which is coming out, both of these 192s, into the MTA 980 console. MTA stands for Malcolm Toft Audio. He's the guy that invented the whole concept of modular board.
Oh wow!
So instead of years ago, you'd lift up the board like a car hood and you'd repair it. He came up with the idea that you can take, if one goes down, you unscrew it, pull it out, you fix it yourself, or you send it out and put it back in again.
Yeah.
So this is the same board that mixed Pablo Honey and OK Computer, which is like one of my favorite albums ever.
Yeah.
And Malcolm Toft is also the guy that mixed Hey Jude. The version of Hey Jude that we know right now was mixed by him when the Beatles left Abbey Road for a couple of weeks.
Right.
And we're getting stir crazy. Malcolm was the engineer at that studio, and so he went on to do even more in terms of audio. So what they do in this course, it's all mixing, there's no tracking, they don't record at all. They'll go 24 IO out of the board, or more because it can take up to 40. We can go 24 and 24 out. Mix through Pro Tools, imparting the sound of the board on the mix, and then back into Pro Tools, 2-track stereo. So I just give them mixing assignments, like mix it in mono, mix it in stereo, do this to the drums, compress this, EQ this, and then each assignment, they go song after song after song. So in terms of the pace, it's pretty rigorous, but I'm trying to prepare them for actually being in the studio.
Right, because it's pretty rigorous in the studio.
Yeah, and like who can afford like $150 an hour without working fast?
Right.
So they complain, oh, I don't have enough time. They do get enough time. Like I'll grant them extra time if they want, but I'm trying to keep that standard high about working.
A professional standard.
Right.
Right.
So last class they do another full-on album, which they end up with another 10 songs in a collaborative environment, but it's a full-on album where they have to, they're performing and they're engineering and producing either themselves or with other people from the outside that get approved to come in and record. And they start from pre-production, like they're rehearsing the band and doing mocks up a 2-track stereo to see if it's viable. And then they do some test recording, and then they start tracking the drums, usually multi-tracking on the way up. And then I require like a digital release, a hard release, an event release, sort of, I don't want to call it a party, but event release.
Right. Celebration.
Yeah, something like like an event.
Yeah.
Right, and then and during that time they're giving presentations not only on their music but different aspects of the industry, and that's informed with guest artists that we have coming in, speaking to them about what's actually going on. Last year we had Chris Manning and we had Barrick Moffat from EMI. This year, John Vanderslice, he owns Tiny Telephone Studios up in San Francisco. He's a singer-songwriter. He's coming up in a couple weeks. So yeah, there's a lot of real-world applications. I'm doing mixing all the time in the evenings and weekends. I'll bring my mixes in and say, hey, like I tracked this up in a studio here. Here's all the problems I ended up with. This is what I did. What would you have done? And then I'll let them listen to mixes that I'm doing currently as well.
Right.
And I hold sessions here all the time. I recorded 10 albums here last year.
Wow.
Yeah, which is a ton because I'm on a crazy schedule.
Yeah.
It's
almost one a month.
Exactly, which is huge because I'm here full time. Six of which are on been released on labels, like which is great. I'm still working for a lot of labels while maintaining this, and yeah, and they get to participate in those recordings as well, like freely. Like there's no anyone can come as long as within reason. And they can hang out and watch those as well and participate. So
that's cool.
A lot going on.
Do you have a pretty good track record of students graduating and moving on into the industry?
Yeah, we do, and the program has changed significantly since I got here a year ago. I've been here for about a year now. So before, the board was hardly used. Now it's being used constantly. Before, there was maybe 3 or 4 people that knew how to use it, but no, it wasn't in the curriculum to be trained how to use it. Now the board is being used so much, we're having techs come up in it from LA in a couple of weeks just to refurbish it, to keep it up, so it's going to have to be maintained constantly.
Right.
And yeah, first semester you're on the board. Like it's not some sort of, you have to figure out you have to be sort of trained to use the board in a proper manner.
But you get right in there.
Exactly. It's not a privilege. It's a privilege in a sense, but being here and being enrolled and being accepted in the program and the courses, like I encourage everyone to be using it constantly, and they can also book extra time on it.
Now, how hard is it to get accepted in the program?
Well, it's rigorous. It's changed. There's an audition process now, so people have to be able to play an instrument, demonstrate that they can sing. People argue, well, it's pushing buttons, and I said, no, it's not. It's like you have to have empathy for your fellow musicians that are playing. You have to have a comprehensive understanding of how a song is formed and performed, and be able to play yourself as well. Because what a better engineer than an engineer that's a musician.
Yeah, so, I found that a lot being a musician myself. An
right.
engineer is a musician. They just understand a lot more.
Yeah, and if you think about it, like when you're partying, like your choices on a mix, the board and your mix is another instrument.
Yeah,
in the mix,
exactly.
And you have to think about it from an artistic
It is
point
an
of view.
instrument in a sense, using the board.
Exactly. So yeah, once they'll pass an audition, and when they first come in, and then they have to pass another audition if they didn't pass the first one to get into the concentration, which is the junior and senior level. Right, so they have two opportunities to pass through the audition, and they have to have a bit beyond a basic theory requirement. So there's an understanding of theory, understanding of like chords, chord qualities, scales, how that all
intertwines,
right? It forms their decisions here as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
When's your next program start?
Basically, it starts in September, and then because I'm not sure if this CSU is accepting transfers. You can edit that out. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would start September 11.
Okay. And then what about the one after that? That would be the one open for applications right now?
Yeah. Basically every September.
Okay. Every September.
Yeah,
so
people would start the stream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Cool. So the gear that the students are going to be using basically every day is 2 192s for a total of 24 in and 24 out. And if they bounce in Pro Tools, that's a viable option. They can also bounce to the Tascam as well, or record from Pro Tools through the board into the Tascam. Recently we had a donor donate some old 70s gear that's like in great working order, this old Roland vocoder, which sounds pretty killing through with a guitar as well as keyboard. An old SPX90, do you guys remember these?
No, I don't actually.
Yeah. Do you remember these?
Yeah,
it's still really amazing. It still has one of the coolest old reverb algorithms.
Yeah.
This is usually coupled with an ADAT back in the day, but
right.
this old harmonizer works great as well for some completely different sounds, harmonizing and delay as well. The school came with this this old lexicon, which is another in terms of effects processing. They basically use these 3. The distressors, as you know, are great compressors and super flexible. There's 4 channels of Neve preamps, 2 more of the Millennium, which is actually a channel strip in a 19-inch rack. So you have the preamps, transformer choices, EQs, and compressors, and 2 each. The PreSonus we don't use much anymore. And they sold 286, believe it or not.
Oh my God!
Do you know what a 286 is?
No, but that thing's old.
This is basically from '89.
Wow.
The 286 runs the Neve Flying Fader system.
Oh.
And not so well. We don't use it anymore because if we were using a tape deck, that would be cool. But all the automation takes place in Pro Tools.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So what we do is we set the faders to unity gain, basically 0, and then any gain that's coming out of Pro Tools will be recognized on the channel strip.
Okay.
So yeah, everything goes through the board and back in again.
Beautiful.
Okay, the mic blocker. Here we have quite a few AKG 414s, multi-pattern. We have the Royer 122s, a couple of these as well. Both of these we use for overheads quite frequently. These are great for guitar as well. Biodynamic, you can edit this as well, right? 160. And the Levy Breaks was recorded with these. And these are the old school ones. These aren't the reissue ones. We have two of these ribbon mics. These are ribbon mics as well, which are phantom powered, which is kind of crazy. And in the other room, we also have some new Josephson E22s, which are sort of condenser mics with side address that are great for snare. And we just got some Wonder mics as well, so for large diaphragm condensers. So there's never, and then of course we have a collection of 57s and 58s. 57s still sound great on the snare of guitar cabinets. And yeah, and there's no sort of staggering of the technology in terms of people using this. If you're recording, you're using these mics. You're on the mics. You don't have to necessarily be a senior or anyone else. So we have the best of analog and the best of digital at the same time, and we're still running in this sort of with analog sensibilities. Meaning, I want recall sheets to happen as well as recall through the board. And because this isn't fully automated, what we have to do is basically get this board tape. Should be a number here on 25, and it lines up with the little lines. So when you're recalling the mix in Pro Tools, everything else is set to 0. You know, your bass is going to be here, 2 guitars here, vocals, percussion, your auxiliary sounds, and parallel vocal track here. And then when you're done with the mix, if you're not happy with it, you can come back later, put this back on the board.
And readjust it.
And readjust it, yeah, tweak it. And then, so we just collect them here. So which is kind of cool, it becomes like sort of like cheap wallpaper.
Yeah.
So,
very cool.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at your mics.
It's like studio graffiti.
yeah.
So we are here in the MIDI room, and why don't you tell me a little about what you got here?
Sure, we just got these, the new M Audio keyboards, 8 new Macs, the iMacs as well, using the MBox 2s, which is the LE system, and it's running Pro Tools 8, the new version of Pro Tools 8, Sibelius, and Reason. And then we just found out today they were going to ship Reason 4, but Reason 5's out.
Reason 5 just came out, yeah.
Yeah, so they said they can't ship Reason 4, it's going to be Reason 5 now.
Wow.
Yeah, so we, which is good, but like my whole curriculum...
But it kind of puts a little stutter and everything.
Yeah, like I just said, hey, go buy the Reason 4 books,
Yeah.
right?
Oh.
But I mean, some of that stuff is all going to apply.
Yeah.
You know, for, at least for a semester. So for
There'll
next
just be
year,
some new things in there that Reason
Yeah.
5 incorporates.
Yeah, it's you know, within the scope of this course, I think they'll be fine with like the basics in terms of using the mixer, the reed drum, and a couple synths or something. So yeah, and then so I teach the classes. The classes are taught in here. It's not me lecturing on a board. Like they're there taking notes, but also like doing they're clicking as well. Like they're going through the software themselves, getting it under their hands, experience.
Interactive,
Yeah, which makes more sense in terms of learning. So.
Yeah, especially textbooks with computer software is kind of hard to do.
Yeah, you got to do it. You
Yeah.
got to be there. You got to be there with headphones on, and pressing play as much as possible. So. Yeah.
Cool. Well, you got some great stuff here. I'm sure you're going to get some amazing students, and can't wait to see some of the work that they do.
Great. Thanks for your
time.
All right. Take care.
See you guys around.